Good evening, this is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And tonight, we have with us first Andang,
Hey everybody.
Draculetta,
I bid you welcome.
Ethelros,
Hello.
Brax.
Are you sure, Pineleaf?
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
He waited to make sure. He looked around, wanted to make sure you were really here.
I understand there was some confusion last week, whether I was actually here or not.
Well, yes. And finally, please welcome our special guest tonight, all the way from with with moderate peril. Yes, Ending's better at introducing this guy.
All right, so Pineleaf doesn't actually know our guest tonight.
Yes.
So I'm gonna get that little piece out of the way.
Yes,
we are
Roger
joined tonight by Roger from Contains Moderate Apparel. So thank you for joining us, good sir.
Hello there, and thanks very much indeed for the invite. It's nice to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were outbid on an auction, but we felt we should probably still invite you because you're just too good of a guest to have.
Well, that's very kind of you, thank you. You might regret it.
We might. So, real quick, tell everyone that may not know what you actually, like Pineleaf, what you actually do in the LOTRO community.
I do a bit of writing on occasions about things that are happening within LOTRO, and I've been known to talk about it once or twice on our podcast. Been blogging since 2008, and LOTRO was my first MMO, so I must admit it is a fairly regular feature on the website. And we like to talk about it and give opinions and commentary and so forth and such like. But we also cover other games and a few movies and TV shows and general things that geeky, nerdy type people like.
Yeah, and what would you say sets you apart from other LOTRO websites or LOTRO content?
We're quite tall.
Awesome.
I'm British. I don't know. I really don't know. I just write what my opinion is, and Brian, when he's on the podcast with me, he gives his input. We try and be as broad as we possibly can in our views, and we play quite a lot of other games, so we're not just purely focused on LOTRO. So I think that does give us quite a lot of perspective. Oh, and we're also old as well, so there you go. We can play the age card.
So Anding, I'll jump in because I'm a regular listener. I would say that the thing that kept me coming back to Moderate Peril podcast was the fact that they do a really good job of taking an issue that perhaps other podcasts look at and gloss over and maybe talk about a little bit, and they dive really deep into what maybe is a reason behind whatever it is they're looking at. So I really enjoy some of the different perspectives that they bring to the table.
That's nice. At least that's one happy listener. But no, we do. We like to explore things. I mean, where some shows are sort of news-based shows, and we're sort of more of the sort of news analysis, I think, will possibly be nearer what we try to aspire to anyway.
Okay, awesome. And I think that's enough of an interview. Pineleaf, take us into our first section.
Yes, we'll go into game news, and we'll begin with a community update on October 21st, which didn't have all that much that I can recall.
But there was someone dressed up again as another character of the Fellowship.
Well, yes, there was the beard that he was wearing.
Can I also say that they broke their own record of providing only 22 seconds of actual game content in this community update?
Yes. Yes, that's why it sort of slips my mind on exactly what was going on. I thought, why did he bother bringing this up? Just to show himself with a beard, I guess. Or with a big beard as opposed to his usual beard. And we'll head on to the fourth quarter 2013 wallpapers, which were
Yeah.
posted, and you get them both with calendars and without calendars and in 3 different sizes.
And that's about it.
Yes.
Were
Do
these
you
in the
have any?
new? Were these in the new areas or were these in the old areas?
These had Helm's Deep images, but I think they were images we'd already seen before.
Yeah. I know at least, yeah, the one looked like it was probably in Helm's Deep itself. I can't remember if the other two were any place similar or anything like that. There's a pumpkin carving contest coming up.
Yeah, Turbine wants to see your best Gandalf with his staff glowing out of the pumpkin, and Tower of Mordor with the glowing eyeball coming out, and yeah, they want to see your best carvings in pumpkins.
Right. And some people come up with some really creative pumpkin carvings each year, so
Yeah, this always amazes me each year, seeing how creative the player base actually gets with this. It's pretty impressive.
yes, and the first place winner gets a Helm's Deep Premium Edition code, and the runner-up gets 2,500 turbine points.
That's a pretty good prize. It seems like in the past, I don't remember if they gave expansions or not, but they gave like forum titles.
Yeah, I think it was forum titles and maybe some turbine points.
There's probably going to be a forum title in addition to this, unless they can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I didn't see that, so I was wondering if maybe
Yeah.
the new forums couldn't do that.
I know they can support some titles, but there might be limits on how they implement them. All right, and that shows you how little news there was this week, because now we're on to the store news.
Yeah, there really wasn't a thing, which is not a good sign when we're getting so close to the release, but maybe they're just trying to pack the next few weeks.
We got 22 seconds. What are you talking about?
Right. This week in the store, the free sample is 100% Renown or Infamy. Free sample code is U9MP. All right. We also have
I didn't know
25% off the following items. Monster classes. You're going to see that there is a theme to most of these. Monster traits, monster skills, milestone skills, hurry traveler. Okay, the last two are travel instead of monster related. And finally, lore master talismans. Though that was not officially announced in the sale, I have been given on good authority that the talismans are on sale this week. And finally, we have 25% off XP Disablers. This is something that was added after the sale started, and the XP Disabler sale is on until November 17th, just before Helm's Deep gets released.
Can I say that this is really frustrating to me? That they only did 25% off and didn't make it free? Because to me that kind of makes it seem even more like a money grab than just having the XP thing in the store.
What they should have done is allowed people to opt out of the 100% boost in the first place.
Well, I don't think they have they can't do that at this point.
Well,
Yeah, they can. Just make the
say they
XP
can't do
Disabler
that.
free.
Well, you need a patch in order. Well,
Does anybody here use the disabler?
I've used it on one character.
I use it on one single character. The warden I'm doing on Gladden.
I used it more to manage my leveling rather than just stop it, so I don't outlevel the zone I'm in.
Yeah, it's pretty much how probably most people use it.
So were either of you guys upset when the 100% XP boost was announced for so long? Or
Not really, because I haven't been playing on my freeps at
Yeah.
least when this came out. So
Well, yeah, but it's typical for them to encourage people to level up a little bit just before an expansion, and it's longer this time because there are more levels to gain if you were lower in level.
yeah, I was just curious because when they announced this, they said it was due to user feedback that they put it on sale. That people were complaining that they were leveling too fast. So I just
Yeah,
curious.
I did see that
Yeah.
thread where he announced it.
This is always a sort of problem, though, for games that have been around for a while, because if you've got a game that's got 4 or 5 expansions already available, there's always this sort of requirement to adjust people's leveling, because the idea always is that people want to get to level cap as soon as possible, because end game is where it's all at, which is not necessarily the case, and it's difficult because if you level now, particularly with the current XP boost, you do run the risk, if you've not done some content before, of missing a great deal of the game and some really great parts. And it's a fine line that Turbine have to tread, I think. And I think it would have been nice if they could have maybe made the XP disabler just a little bit cheaper.
I have a feeling that there were people that just would not have accepted that. I get the feeling that from the way the thread went, that Sapiens had to turn a few arms just to get it to 25% off.
So I had a question, Roger. You were the site that I saw that broke the potential spoiler of what was an automatic 50 leveling token.
Yes, indeed.
So I guess I'm curious, would people in the chat room and in this chat here rather use that technique to level, or is the XP boost okay for you?
I think XP boosters are a bit of a blunt tool, where if you actually have a token that can instantly take you to a specific level, you can choose to use that as and when, and I think apply it a little bit more tactically rather than just using the XP booster. I mean, I've got no problem with if this picture that I discovered on the internet, if that is going to be introduced to the game, I don't think that's a problem as long as it's used wisely, and maybe there are some caveats on it. Maybe
like having to have gotten to that level once already.
Exactly, yes. I wouldn't encourage a new player to use them anyway, because you would just bypass so much of the game and then miss so much really good quality, enjoyable content.
Yeah, I asked that question because I'm not really sure which one I'd prefer. I don't mind having the additional 100% XP boost, but I've never tried the other, so I don't know.
I think it's just a problem for them. I mean, games that are currently under development have probably got all sorts of workarounds already in place for these sort of problems, and it's a tough thing for Turbine to have to deal with retrospectively, particularly with a game that is somewhat aging. And I think they're trying to do as best as they can, and you're sort of damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, really.
Yeah, I was surprised when Helm's Deep was announced, the number of kidmates of mine that were complaining about the additional levels that you're going to have to gain, because I had never even thought of that. It just seemed to me like that's part of the game if you don't have something to shoot for. But then again, you look at it and it's 95 levels, and for a beginner player, that's a really daunting task.
Oh, absolutely, quite terrifying. Actually, it's like I'll never get to level cap. I think the problem with introducing an expansion every year and arbitrarily moving the level cap each year means that by the time you've actually played through the content, done a lot of the raids, and got a lot of the good stuff, and you've finally got your alts kitted out the way you want them to, there's really only a sort of a 3 or 4 months window on the actual lifespan of that gear, which just seems a little bit self-defeating to me. Maybe the increases in level cap should happen every 2 years or just over a slightly lengthier period. Just give people time to enjoy the rewards of their labour.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest complaint too, was that I just finally ground up to this level where my character is, somewhat powerful, and now look, it's going to be all for nothing.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way MMO. But then I suspect that they would, if they didn't raise the level cap, people would be complaining as why. Well, what's this worth if we're not going to be able to become more powerful? Of course, in MMOs, you really don't become more powerful. You just become higher level and you run to bigger creatures.
That's what I was going to say. That's just the nature of an MMO. I mean, you're never going to be at level cap because level cap is always going to go up. I mean, one would conceivably, it's always going to go up. I mean, if not, the game would just get stagnant. I mean, to me at least.
I mean, one of the ways you've seen them trying to combat this is by introducing the group content that scales from a very low level. I mean, you had the Erebor stuff, which was, level 20 upwards to the level cap. And then you have the upcoming Helm's Deep epic battles, which are going to be from level 10. It seems like one way that they're going to try and make it the jump to level cap less daunting, maybe.
We'll see, but if you try to level through big battles, you're going to miss a great deal of, as said before, great deal of great content along the way, because I know some people complain about the Shire, but it's a nice place to quest.
Well, I don't mean just that. I mean, like, even at a low level, you can get when Helm's Deep arrives, you could get a taste of the endgame without actually being at it.
Right. Very well. Then let's head on to LOTRO Players News. And we finished our fellowship walk! Yay!
Yay! So excited.
Yes. And we raised a total of $5,876.50.
I like round numbers.
Yes.
I remember last year, I think that for the longest time it was .01 or something like that, and it was giving Golden Star a really hard time.
Yes, that 1 penny.
Yep.
And I think someone eventually decided to give something .99 just to even it out.
Yep.
And we also have some Fellowship Walk giveaways in celebration of how we did. First off, with entries closing on 10/27, which is tomorrow from the live time, and that is a Riders of Rohan Heroic Edition expansion.
Yeah, and all you have to do for all these giveaways is just leave a comment. So it's very, very easy to enter. And basically what happens is we just assign everyone a number, go to random.com or org or whatever it is, and have it roll. And then we pick a number from that, and that gives us our winner.
Yes, and I think one of the rules in there is no pine leaf, you're not eligible.
Yes, it does say that all LOTRO players, past and current staff, cannot enter, and nor their extended family. So there you go.
Right. Of course, it's moot with me anyway since I already have the Heroic Edition. And in addition to this, there's also a 60-day VIP code giveaway.
Yeah, there's one on the 27th and another one that closes on the 28th, which the 28th people can probably enter if they listen early in on this one. And yeah, so definitely be looking into that and leave a comment. And I guess I can go ahead and mention this now. Actually, if you watch LOTROplayers.com on Tuesday, there could be something of interest going on that you might want to leave a comment on. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that.
We just keep refreshing the page all day.
Yeah, you can probably stop refreshing after 10 o'clock or so Eastern time.
All right, so you are more mysterious than mystery.
Well, I think we gathered that based on the guess that I teased all week.
Yes. All right, and therefore, we also have a new LOTRO Players Middle-earth network group. And could you please explain this, Andang?
Well, LOTRO Academy had one, and we were jealous. No, seriously though, this is basically just another way for us to reach out to you guys, our fans and community, and help build the best Lotro fan community we can. And this is just another place for you guys to interact with us and get involved with the community.
Very well. And now, Brax, do you have a pick for this week?
Yeah, I do. It's a little risky. I apologize. You may have to. If you want to click on the link, you're probably going to want to get your small children away from the monitor. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
Ooh, bad.
So I'm going to try a screen share here for the live viewers, but it's going to probably be a.
Maybe
It'll
you
be a
should have done a
slideshow.
screenshot like I did.
Oh yeah, and just flip through it. So Whiteberry from Tales of Arta fame did a video with her dwarf character, and he's a shirtless dwarf. Let's just put that out there. And he's doing a video to the song "Sexy and I Know It." And this video just had me cracking up when I watched it. I had it watched it with my wife on my little iPod, and I popped it up on Twitter and just thought, this is like the funniest thing I've seen in days. So congrats to Whiteberry. I know this is a little bit different than most of my picks of the week, but it just made me laugh and it made my week. So we'll put a link in the show notes.
Don't make a habit of it, Brax. Shirtless dwarves are only to be used sparingly.
Yes.
Else you go blind.
If at all.
Yeah. One of them is enough. Very well. And for our sponsors, this show is brought to you by Amazon.com. Use the widget on the side of the site on any purchase to help support LOTRO players. In addition, we have donations, and a big thanks to everyone who's donated to the Fellowship Walk First. And also thanks to Kimberly for her $10 or more donation to LOTRO players. If you would like to help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donation page where you can help support the podcast on LOTRO players and also help support the site. We have $5 and $10 mentions where you can donate and get a mention on one or all of our active podcasts. For $5, you can choose which podcast you would like to be on, and for $10, you get a mention on all of our podcasts.
That's right. Probably one of the best advertising deals you can get out there. So definitely a good thing, and it helps support the site and also helps us do giveaways and things like that. That's how we got all the incentives for the Fellowship Walk. And so a big thanks to everyone who's donated to LOTRO players over our 4 to 5 months that we've been around.
Yes. And now for a new segment in our show, Feedback, where we can go over any major reviews that we have. And we do have a review this week, a 5-star iTunes review that is titled A Fantastic Show, and is by Brax?
No, not me.
Okay.
Not you.
Sure,
Okay.
it's not you.
Pine Leaf, it's by BraxFan303. Okay, that implies that there are 302 other Brax fans out there. And
Well-
you know what's not up there? An Andang fan review. We need to make it happen next week, everyone. We need an Andang fan 304. That implies that there are 304 Andang fans, which I know there are because guess what? I have 304 Twitter followers. So
Yeah.
get out there and give us a review.
Do you think
under
this
the
person?
appropriate
That's as opposed to the Pineleaf fan 000. Yes.
I want to know if this person went through all those other 302 numbers before they finally landed on this one.
Yes.
Let's try it. Brax 1, taken. Brax 2, taken. Brax 3, taken. Come on.
Well,
Perhaps
then.
it's their IQ.
All right. He writes, I love this show. It is fun to listen to each week and informs LOTRO players of all the news each week. This is because of the amazing hosts on this show, except for that Pine guy at the beginning.
No, that's not on there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not on there. Pineleaf, you're an awesome host. We're definitely glad to have you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be host anymore. So.
And dang, I didn't even know your mom watched the show.
Clearly not. Otherwise, there would be an Andang fan number one on
Right.
there.
You can contact us by emailing us at lotroflayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter, LotroPlayers @LotroPlayers, Andang @PVMP_Andang, Braxwood @BraxWolf, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, Ethelrose at Ethelrose. And our guest, would you like to give a Twitter?
Oh yes, I can be found lurking and at moderate peril, hanging out on Twitter.
All right. And you could reach our guest at Moderate Peril, but be careful because his site does contain moderate peril.
Yes, indeed, it's not always best to look at it at a work environment.
Very well. Lotro Players News goes live every Saturday at 8:30 server time. You can join us by going to lotroplayers.com/live. Be sure to join us in the chat. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we close?
I'm curious if Roger has any general thoughts he wants to give on Helm's Deep before we go off. What he thinks of the expansion and if he thinks it'll be successful and all that stuff.
Helm's Deep, there's an interesting question because there's a huge amount of information out there. I mean, I've written a site.
All right, I missed that bit
Yeah,
right
if
there.
you can repeat that again, I think it cut you out.
It's Turbine. They're out to get him. Yeah, I think we lost him.
I think you're right. So apparently he was talking about stuff that was so awesome for Helm's Deep that it just couldn't handle it.
That was
It just,
going to be the most profound moment of the show, too.
yes, it was. But unfortunately, we are going to have to go without his wonderful review. So therefore,
So Pineleaf.
good. That's it for this week. And remember to skirmish responsibly.
Heal Pineleaf really hard. Heal him really hard. Make sure he's alive.